I mean, there is weather changes. We notice that. I mean, the summers are hotter, the springs are wetter or drier, the falls or whatever. I mean, over my 60 some odd years, I've noticed, a lot of different changes. And so, I mean, there's something going on. There's no question there's something going on, and we need to pay attention. And I have always been a big promoter of Mother Nature doesn't read the book, but there's something going on. So let's see if we can, do our part to make sure we're doing something to help this situation. And if that's the case, educate ourselves. So I think most farmers don't look at, say, well, geez, the news says there's a big difference here with climate change, so we need to change our practices, or the university says we've got to help farmers change what they're doing, and a lot of it is in tillage, probably, whatever. But if it's a rainy spring, we know what we got to do. We just do things differently. We have to, because the weather mandates how we operate. Because of the reason for it, we don't spend a lot of time trying to figure that part out. I mean, if we need longer growing or shorter growing crops, we're not going to develop those. Somebody else has got to develop that. So even though somebody tells us we got to start concentrating on growing a different crop because of climate change, we're not going to do that. We don't have the resources as farmers to do that. We'll call up somebody, we'll call up Heather Darby, UVM Extension or whatever, and say, listen, guide us where we need to go to get something. We know we got to change our practices because the weather dictates it. So did I change things? Yeah, everybody has. I think every farmer I know has changed. Did they do it because it's climate change? I don't think they did it knowingly, but they did it because the weather was changing, and they knew, last 3 springs, we get this rain or we don't. So we got to plan. We got to plan for that. So we plan for it, but I don't think as we're focusing on the idea is because it's climate change, is because economics dictate that we need to change our practices. I think we know in our back of our mind there's a thing, but we're not. It's not a political issue for us. It's a reality, and we just change with the climate. The climate doesn't change with us.